We got a couple special recognitions tonight. One we started a couple years ago. Our troop invented a unique adult recognition award that we call the Old Folks of Scouting. We created it for our adults who've really gone above and beyond in contributing to our troop's success over a period of many years. Previous winners that we've honored here at Tomahawk on Wednesday night have been Bill Johnson, Jim Letourneau, Aunt Deb and Uncle John Clark, and last year Ken Rowe and myself. So we have one winner this year, and I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. Our winner this year is very deserving, and that's Mr. Rick Roush. So, Rick and I met when our boys were Weeblos. We actually got invited to Troop 494 to a camp out at Camp Ripley.
I remember that.
So our boys were much younger, and we spent the weekend at Camp Ripley. And 2 years later, Joe and I and Jay and Rick all joined Troop 494 together. And for those of you parents who haven't maybe been on a camp out with us or maybe gotten to know Rick as well as some of us have, I'll tell you he's truly an exceptional role model for your boys. Absolutely he is. Some of the excellent qualities that he exhibits on every camp out is he's a tireless worker. He he really works with the boys on pushing them to be all that they can be, and he encourages them all the time. He's an outstanding outdoorsman. He's been on all the high adventure campouts, and he goes on virtually all of our campouts. And one thing that I think is really key, he's a very in-charge guy. Rick might not be the scoutmaster, but when we pull into the campsite on Friday night and the trailers get opened up, even the scoutmaster knows to stay out of the way because he is the guy who's in charge. So if you've been on a camp out with us, or several, you know that Rick has some catchphrases. Some things that he says, and we're all used to hearing them many, many times over. So together, Rick and I will read the top 5 Rick Roush catchphrases.
Use my glasses.
I made it really big.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
So Rick is our quartermaster, and so that means he's responsible for all of our gear, and that's a lot of stuff. You see 2 trailers, lots of tents, and cooking gear and all this stuff. He has to keep it all in shape. So on Sunday mornings when we break camp, usually the boys are in a hurry to get going, and they're trying to pack their tents up and get going, and Rick will always walk through the campsite, and you can usually hear him saying one thing. Here's number 5.
Don't lose the stakes.
I mentioned that number 4 tagline here is Rick is all about teaching the boys that there's no limit to what they can achieve if they really set their minds to it, whether it be climbing Mount Baldy or biking all the way back from Duluth or whatever. He wants them to know that there's no obstacle that they can't achieve. So you can often hear him when we're doing something very difficult. You can always hear him say,
"What doesn't kill you makes you stronger."
How many of you have heard that? See? Sometimes, though, the boys, being boys, they don't quite hear the lesson quite right. And so they might continue to whine or complain about how hard the work is or how long the ride is. But he's always the compassionate one.
Absolutely.
So when that happens, he says, catchphrase number 3.
Could be worse. Could be happening to me.
And sometimes even that doesn't work. So then he just says, catchphrase number 2.
Oh, you poor thing.
But I think one of the most strongest messages that Rick gives the boys is personal responsibility. You really see that at Tomahawk. He makes sure that they know that they're responsible for themselves, that they have to take care of themselves, wash their dishes, hang up their dishes, clean their tents, get to their merit badges on time, do all the things that they do because they have to learn that responsibility. He wants them to know that no one will do it for them, and they must do it themselves. So, the number one most commonly heard Rick Rauch catchphrase is,
Your mama ain't here.
So we want to thank Rick for all your years of leadership for the boys. And there's your badge. So there's a lot of combined years of leadership up here, but there's one person that we want to call out tonight, and that's the guy in the chair, the old guy, Jim Letourneau.
Wait a minute, somebody else got that.
Hey, watch it. This is Jim's 17th year as an adult leader with our troop. And when you consider we started in 1994, that's a lot of our years in existence. So,
Yeah, I mean, Jim not only was here when his son was in the troop, but he left the troop. Well, never left the troop, but he stepped down as scoutmaster for a while, let someone else take over for a bit, and he came back. And he came back. What is it now? 4 years ago, he came back.
Time flies.
And he's been here for the last 4 years, and now he is ready to step down again and let the troop continue on. So we thank Jim for all of his help, all of his leadership, and everything that he's brought to the troop.
one thing that you might not know about Jim, but we've got, I think, is it 56 Eagles or 55 Eagles? I can't
It will
remember.
be 56 next week.
56 next week, okay. And Jim has personally had a hand with every one of those 56 boys in getting to Eagle, whether it was Eagle coach or Scoutmaster or committee chair, whatever. He's had a role with every one, so that's pretty outstanding. Now we will have our September Court of Honor, and that's where we'll transition from our old Scoutmaster to our new Scoutmaster, but we wanted to take the chance here at Jim's last official Tomahawk as Scoutmaster to recognize him here. So
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all about the boys, and it always will be. And I think to the extent that you see adults and parents and leaders here, we're here because of our own boys, but because of the opportunity we get to spend time with them. And hopefully, you know, we learn a little bit from them and they learn a little bit from us. So, again, thank you very much. And I might be stepping down as Scoutmaster, but I'm not disappearing. So. All right, thanks.